Take a look at this comment.
Thanks to the name above that suddenly get money back from scammers.
So, a certain Nathan Tech 70 on Instagram helped someone to recover their money from scammers. And here's another comment.
Thank you for being a great example of leadership to me. I got the $20,000 last night.
And the best hacker, Authority Jack, helped someone earn a whole $20,000. And here's another one, and another, and another, and another. And this is only the comments on our channel. I'm sure you see similar comments on YouTube all the time. On this guy's channel, and on that one, and on this one too. But in truth, all these comments, they're a scam. And we can actually support this statement because we've carried out our own investigation. We wrote to several such individuals. We took screenshots of all conversations and played the fool in order to expose them. And in order to check their honesty until the very end, we even paid one of them for the work. In the next 20 minutes, we'll tell you how to play cat and mouse with scammers. They thought they were playing us, when in fact the joke was on them. Let's start with Nathan. It would be much easier to write in the comments,
"Thank you, Nathan Tech 70 from Instagram,"
than to write,
"Thank you to the name above."
So why have they done this? Well, the author of these comments obviously knows that they are spamming in the comments. And of course, usually, channels block spam. For example, the owner of the channel can insert Instagram into the list of blocked words. To get round this blocking, hundreds of accounts are created with links in the username. The same goes for other typical signs of spam. Caps lock. Well, why shout? And emoji, emoji, emoji. In short, this should already be a sign of spam. Let's get to know Nathan. We went to his Instagram. He has almost 1,300 followers and 81 posts, and in general, it looks like a normal page. So what does he do? As he writes himself, he recovers access to different social media accounts, to Instagram, to email accounts, to Facebook. By the way, there's often big problems with English in these posts. For example, Gmail instead of Gmail. This should also be a warning sign. Most scammers, as a rule, have pretty bad grammar. Let's take a look at these posts. Anonymous hackers, crypto, some men at computers. Clearly they are trying to impersonate hacker groups. In general, he tries to come off like a cool hacker. Although with such a guise, he can probably only trick children. Let's send him a message. Now you'll see a real conversation. This is a screen recording. We made out that some scammers stole the password to our Steam account.
"Hi, can you recover a stolen account? My Steam account has been stolen. Could you help me?"
Yes, I can help you. Send me the picture of the problem you're having on your account. Send me the link of the account and make it fast.
"It was stolen. My password doesn't fit. I do not know how it happened."
He's ready to help me, but he convinces me that I need to buy some kind of magic flash drive.
It's okay, I will help, but I do charge for service fee. Payment will be charged for the purchasing of the fitted equipment needed before I can proceed further.
"Equipment? What do you mean?"
Urban software code.
"I don't know what it is. I don't understand anything in this area. Can you tell me in more detail?"
This is what I'm talking about.
Our partner says that he has a friend who sells these flash drives, which have a special code for the hacking of any social media account. And these flash drives are, apparently, single use. So in order to get back into your hacked accounts, you need to buy one of these magic memory sticks.
"Are these flash drives?"
Yes, it is used for hacking down accounts. If we get one of these, your account will be recovered.
"Does this flash drive contain some kind of hacking program? Can't it be bought online?"
Yes, it contains the software used in hacking down lost and disable account.
To convince us that he is a real professional, Nathan shows a screenshot of some website. Now look carefully. This is not just a screenshot from the internet. In the search bar is a link that Nathan Tech 70 received from us. This is alarming. But how can we pay? Pay attention to the fact that he asks us to send payment as family and friends, and then asks us to send a screenshot as proof of transfer. He also constantly pressures us to send the money faster.
"Where will you order this flash drive? How soon will it be delivered to you?"
It will be delivered today. My agent is close by. I don't work with people far from me, and we need to start the process ASAP.
And also tries to convince us that he will definitely return our account to us, and all this is 100% legal.
"Is it legal?
Yes, it's legal. As soon as we get the software code, everything will be solved. Mom, you know I don't really have time.
Of course, it's obvious that no money should be sent to him. The signs of a scammer are there in vast numbers. For example, on his Instagram account, the first photo on his page is dated from the 27th of March 2022. So the page is pretty new. And what about this certificate? Certified Ethical Hacking. Courses in ethical hacking do genuinely exist, but it seems like there's something not quite right about this certificate. Look carefully at the text. There's a link to a website visible on it, diploma-degree.com. Let's have a look at it. The site doesn't work anymore, but if you Google the web address, then it's obvious that this is a fake degree builder. Seriously? We decided to randomly check a few other photos on the page. It was easy to find the original sources on the web. This is a photo from an article in 2016, and this is a screenshot from a video from the YouTube channel of an Indonesian hacker who has 3 subscribers. And do you remember the site which he showed us in our message? The interface seems familiar to me. Such videos used to pop up on TikTok. Bingo. The site address is even visible here, although it doesn't work anymore. We found a similar site. It's super simple. I'm going to try to hack a page on Facebook without the help of NathanTech70. I know the email address which is linked to the page, and I know the password to it. Let's begin the hack. See, to get a password, you need to click on one of the 4 buttons below. All 4 links lead to third-party sites which are offering questionable services, but I won't use them. The fact is that email displayed here does not actually match the one to which the Facebook page is linked. This is 100% a scam. Nathan asked us to let him know when we are ready to make the payment. Take note that he has changed the email address associated with his PayPal. I would hazard a guess that in this way, he is either trying to pressure us, or he creates new wallets because the old ones are blocked for fraud.
Okay, Mom, when is the possible are you making the payment? Because I will need to change my PayPal mail.
Then we stopped contacting him and Nathan began to harass us. He sent us a message 3 days in a row. A day later, he finally bothered to ask us for the email attached to the Steam account. Let's give him the silent treatment again.
Hello, Mom, do you still need my help? You let me know. Send me the email you linked to the Steam account.
A day later, NathanTech70 has still not calmed down, and now his messages have taken on a slightly angry tone, telling us that we should let him know if we no longer require his services.
If you're not interested, let me know now. I won't bother myself on your case, okay? Okay, bye.
In the end, he writes, okay, bye. Apparently, he finally realized that the fish had slipped off the hook. Now we're going to move on to another scammer. His name is Legit Bills, and he sells fake documents. Here is his spam comment.
Hi there. Just to let you know, I have received the passport and state ID you made for me, and I'm very happy with them. Thank you for such a super smooth deal. I will be back.
Legit Bills prefers to conduct his business over Telegram. This is a very convenient way of communicating with scammers, because it's possible to delete not only your messages, but also the messages of your partner. So, we asked Legit Bills to prepare a German passport for us.
Hi, can you make me a German passport? I saw in the comments on YouTube that you're engaged in the manufacture of passports.
Yeah, depends on the passport you want. Is it scannable or unscannable passport?
In return, you'll need to pay €1,500, plus payment in Bitcoin, complete anonymity.
Scannable passport is the best because if it gets scanned by the official, it will go free without any issue. It's just €1,500.
What kind of help do you need from me besides payment? And where can I transfer the money?
I will need your infos that will be applied on the passport. That's all I need from you. Passport is made by Bitcoin.
The wait for the passport is 72 hours. The scammer promised to send it by post. It's simple and easy, Legit Bills assures us. He reminds us that forging documents is his business, and he would never try to deceive his customers.
How long will it take to prepare a passport? Will you send it to me by mail?
It doesn't take much time. Just in 72 hours you're getting it. And I will need your receiving address. That's where I ship it to you, very easy and simple.
Cool, but how can I be sure that you won't deceive me? €1,500 is a lot of money.
Deceive you about what? This is my business that I've been doing for so many years. I'm going to show you what is called a scannable passport.
Seeing my doubt, Legit Bills sends a video of a document that he allegedly made. He'll subsequently delete this video, but we managed to save it to our phone. Legit Bills calls his business legitimate and says that all his previous clients were satisfied with the documents they received.
I'm only in for serious and legit business. All those who receive their passport from knows I deliver the best ID.
Now, I wonder at what point the payment takes place. Legit Bills says that he needs to receive the money first in order to purchase some software and other materials he needs.
Yo, you have to make the payment, then I do your work. I have to purchase some software and tools to make your work done. That's why I have to receive payment before proceeding on work. And in the next 24 hours after payment and receiving your details and all that, then I will show you what you paid for, which is 100%.
This is a risky transaction, so we agree that we'll transfer €1,000 as an advance payment. This suits him because it's better to get at least something.
Sounds dangerous. Maybe I will pay for the software and the other things that you have to purchase, and when I see that you have bought them, I will give you the rest of the money?
Let's do it this way. If you did not believe me, then pay up front, which is just €1,000. Then I will purchase. All I have to do then, after you see what you paid for, then you balance up.
Legit Bills convinces us that he can't start work without receiving the money, which, in general, makes sense. Now we're going to speak to one of his former clients, so they can confirm that Legit Bills isn't a scammer.
Can't just execute your assignment without receiving any upfront from you, that's impossible.
I understand. Maybe you have clients you have worked with before and were satisfied. Can I talk to them? I'm afraid to send such a large amount of money to a stranger.
This is an illegal business. Who will be happy sharing their contact or stuff so they can give contact to them for assurance about illegal business? If it were to be you, will you be happy I give out details about you to others to contact you?
But his answer is pretty predictable. He admits that his business is illegal, although he already assured us of its legitimacy. Nobody who has fake documents is going to want to talk about it. Legit Bill sends another video showing a fake passport. To finally win us over, the interlocutor sends several screenshots showing thank you messages from customers. Maybe it's Photoshop or bots. Notably, the upper part of the screen, where the current time is located, is cropped. Most likely, these pictures are just blanks for the more scrupulous customers. Please note that these messages were sometimes received just 10 minutes apart.
Wow, they write to you almost every 10 minutes.
Some paid asking for packages and some received showing gratitude. It's normal, daily routine.
He also sends us a couple of completed passports. By the way, the scammer actually sends us these photos with all the personal data video. Yes, the details are blocked out right now, but that's because we did it ourselves. If we were undercover police officers, then we could already have caused a lot of trouble for his clients. However, we think that these people don't exist at all. And here's why. We tried to look for photographs of these passports online, and bingo. Google search once again helps us out. You can see on deviantart.com that a certain Tom Joney uses his photograph as an example of his work, just like Legit Bills. However, it seems to me that Tom Joney also stole this photo from somewhere. He has too many services in his profile. Pay attention to the date of the post, December 2021. A short search leads to a website for the production of documents. Judging by the website, the passport that we received was not just made by some guy who makes passports at home, there's a whole company doing it. We did the same search with the next photograph that Legit Bill sent us. We can see that he stole this photograph too. Most likely, the person who we're speaking to actually has nothing to do with any business that forges documents. He pretends to provide such services and perhaps a few people take the bait. Here's one more spam comment that caught our attention.
I've been suspecting my partner for a long time, until I requested 4192 Victor on IG, who helped me hack my partner's social media and cell phone with a certainty proof. You can always reach him out via 4192 Victor on Instagram.
4192 Victor offers a whole array of services, such as hacking social networks and the opportunity to receive an additional income. His Instagram page is full of video appeals from people who have left extremely positive reviews about him. The reviews are from all different countries, in different languages. Teenagers aren't just praising some abstract hacker genius, they call him by his nickname, 4192 Victor.
Victor hacker perché è il miglior servizio. Totally.
He most likely found these teenagers through an ad, paid them a few dollars, and they then learned the text by heart and repeated it for the camera. The page also displays a number of screenshots of messages from his satisfied clients. There aren't many posts considering that the Instagram account has existed for 2 years already. Strange that in this time, 4192 Victor hasn't been blocked. We told Victor about our desire to earn money, but we added that we only have $50 at our disposal. Naturally, he offered to double the amount for us.
I heard that you can help get some money. Can you help me?
Lady, welcome to 4192 Victor page, where your interest is maximally served. If you are seriously ready now, in less than 1 hour, I will recover your money back to you. Which country are you from?
I'm from the UK. I don't have much money, but I want to make money. How can you help me?
Lady, I am a professional investor and risk management with 10 years experience. I can triple your investment in less than 3 days if you are seriously ready now for my service.
I have $50. What do I need to do to at least double my money? Is there a way to earn with such a small amount?
Lady, I will help you out with 50 USD. I receive Steam gift card or iTunes gift card or Razer Gold card as payment. You can purchase the card from the store in your country, or I can send you a link to purchase the card online. Once I receive and confirm your payment in less than 1 day, I will double the 50 USD 100 USD. And I promise you after my service you will recommend me to your friends and family for more service.
The fraud scheme is simple. Victor asks you to buy a gift card and offers you a choice between a Steam gift card, an iTunes gift card, or a Razer Gold card.
And when can I get $100? Will the payment be made to my card or account? I still don't understand how it works.
Once you make the payment now, in less than 1 day, I will request the card details to transfer the money back to you double.
I always wonder, why do people fall for this? Do they not for a second think, why should Victor do business, publish ads, and take money from someone if he can actually double any amount? Why doesn't Victor just sit and double his own money? Victor doesn't disclose his email or any personal data. That's why the scheme uses gift cards. The code for activating the card comes to our inbox, we send Victor a screenshot, and he simply activates or resells the card purchased with our money.
I have already told you earlier, once you make the payment, you will receive PIN codes to your mail. Screenshot the codes here on my page. The codes is your payment for my service.
We ask, in what miraculous way will he double our money? He replies that he trades Forex together with a team of brilliant traders, and allegedly invests our money and doubles it in a day. So we decided to send Victor 50 euros. We were well aware that we'll never see this money again, and that Victor is 100% a fraudster. The main reason that we spent this money is so that you can see with your own eyes what will happen after you, God forbid, send money to any of these scammers. You'll see how they will refuse to fulfill their side of the bargain and how they'll explain this away. We bought a Razer Gold gift card. Here's the email with the codes that we received. We took screenshots and sent them to Victor.
I did it!
We send him the code and he actually didn't immediately block us, as we assumed. Look, he asked for the details of our card in order to transfer the $100 tomorrow as promised.
Great. In less than 124s, your investment will be double. Send me your bank details.
I'm so happy! I will be looking forward to my money.
Send me your banking details.
We definitely don't recommend that you send your credit card details. In any case, never tell anyone your CVC, which is on the back of your card. Most likely, Victor will not be able to access a bank card having only its details, but many of these people then sell this information to carders, criminals who make copies of credit cards. But we're one step ahead of him. Let's generate some card details. You can easily find a generator on the internet. Just type in the necessary parameters and get the data. If Victor really wants to transfer money to us, he just won't be able to do it. Then he'll send a message to let us know about the problem. But something tells me that this won't happen.
Visa 4169245009481912. Name Brianna Soto, United Kingdom, 10/2026. Sorry it took so long, I'm at work.
Okay, great. Please just exercise patience. In less than 24 hours, you will receive the increments.
Thank you, wonderful. I'm waiting.
In spite of our concerns, Victor does not ask us for our CVC or PIN code. He just asks us to be patient and wait for $100 to arrive in our account. The next day we can still write to Victor. He is still in touch and responds to our messages. The next day, he assures us that we will soon receive our return on investment. Allegedly, Victor trades on the stock exchange from Canada and will soon send us money. Let's just wait for the specified time.
Hey, what's up?
Lady, you know we are in Canada different time from yours. We are still 9 AM and we are trading Forex for your investment.
You wrote that I would have to wait less than 24 hours. Time is almost up.
Lady, I know. I am using Canada time to trade your investment in Forex. Please, in less than 4 hours, your account will be credited with double your investment.
Thank you.
When the time comes, 4192 Victor contacts us and informs us that in order for him to withdraw our investment income, we need to deposit another $100, and then we will receive $300 to our card.
Lady, congratulations, your payment on investment will still be confirmed, because the Forex trading between Germany and United States is still floating. Your investment is showing 90% already. Once it got to 100%, my investment team we put out your return on investment. But for the investment in the Forex market to pull out, so I can transfer your return in investment, we have to put more 100 USD. Once you put more 100 USD, then we can now withdraw 300 USD to your details. Please, you really have to make the 100 USD, so the total money can be withdrawn double back to you in less than 3 hours. Once you make available this 100 USD, your investment will be 100% complete and the double in investment will be transferred to you.
He makes mention of Forex and an entire investment team. Most likely, this is a template message that he sends to everyone in order to squeeze even more money out of a gullible person. This is what all scammers do. Realizing that a person has trusted them, they will milk them until he comes to his senses, his friends bring him to his senses, or he runs out of money.
Give me back my $50. I believed you and you deceived me.
In response, we demanded the money back. And of course, we didn't get anything. Victor began to claim that $300 is the minimum amount he can withdraw.
Lady, I am a man of integrity and impeccable capability. I deliver as promised. Your money is in the system. Please, I know how you feel because I am a human as well. There is nothing I can do. Because the least amount that is allowed to be withdrawn by the system is 300 USD. That is why I pleaded with you to add 100 USD. So the total money with interest will be 300 USD, as allowed by the system. Please, I plead with you to understand me so I can put smiles on your face forever.
You should have warned me in advance that $50 is not enough. Give me my money back. It was the last money I had. I will write complaints about your accounts.
And then he blocked us.
Hi?
Of course, if you find yourself in such a situation, you can report the scammer's page, and so we did. But remember that Victor's page is already 2 years old. There have definitely already been complaints, but Victor continues to trick people. Every year, all around the world, people are scammed out of millions of dollars. Reports from the US Federal Trade Commission show that scammers are increasingly using social media to trick us. In 2021, 1 in 4 people who reported losing money as a result of fraud indicated that they had encountered fraud online. In total, over the past year, US citizens handed over $770 million to fraudsters. Let's summarize the results of our investigation. What unites people who make money via scams? And how can you protect yourself from them? First, carefully study the profile of the individual in question. If it is new or there are few photos and comments on it, it's most likely a fraudster. Secondly, there's no such thing as free money. Just accept it. Only scammers can make quick money if you fall for their tricks. Thirdly, most likely the fraudster will try to make you rush into paying for the product or service you are interested in. He may even try to call you. And finally, whatever happens, never transfer money to strangers. Well, we can say, always think for yourself. And treat any offers as easy earnings as critically as possible. This is your main defense.
Swindled out of £20,000.
You just always knew the right things to say.
What an awful thing to go through.
Tricked by a young man trained to scam them.
There's no sympathy. I'm the mastermind behind the whole thing.
My dad was really ill and I'd had a couple of people really close to me passing away. Just really scared me that someone else I cared about was gonna potentially die if they didn't get treatment and help that they needed.
It took Suzanne Famula a second to swipe right on her dream man and another 5 months
before she realized he was a walking nightmare.
Over the months that we were there, we'd talk about like our future plans.
On paper, Christopher Harris ticked all the boxes. Smart, charming, and attractive. But in reality, he was a serial fraudster with 16 previous convictions for more than 25 offenses. He also wasn't dying, and the mystery heart condition he told Suzanne he needed a life-saving £20,000 for was all part of an elaborate ruse.
So he knew all my vulnerabilities, like around losing people, and he fully took advantage of that fact. Knowing how much I care about people and the people that mean a lot to me, I will do whatever I can to help them in any way, shape or form.
In a digital age, love can blossom online, but in the dimly lit corners of the internet where anonymity reigns, danger can often lurk in the shadows. This is a story about romance scams and the people, victims and cons interwoven in a sophisticated online network of deception worth billions. Stay with us to uncover the truth about romance scams. This video was created by Sumsub, the verification platform. We make the digital world people-friendly yet secure. Romance scams involve con artists, opportunists, and sometimes even criminal networks who create fake identities on dating platforms or social media sites to build emotional connections and ultimately exploit victims for money. This is the anatomy of a romance scam. First comes the lure.
So I met Christopher on a dating site. He seemed like a really nice, normal, down-to-earth person. Like, we had the sort of same values. You know, we both had sort of similar family relationships.
Next, building trust and intimacy.
I remember our first meeting, I actually told him that my mum had passed away, and previously I told him that my dad was in rehab just suffering a stroke. And then he told me that he had a twin brother that died of a brain tumour when they were 12. So it was like you had that shared connection of loss. It felt really nice to know that, you know, someone else has been through a similar thing.
Finally comes the con.
And then he said he got sick. This was all after a few weeks. That's when like the first payment sort of he kind of asked for.
Suzanne is just one of thousands of victims to this multi-billion-dollar scam. And in a post-pandemic world where people seek connections through online connectivity, social media sites and dating apps offer the perfect breeding grounds for criminality.
And whenever you have more traffic, you know, that's where you find more scammers or more fraudsters orienting themselves there too. So it's just a logical progression of people going more online, being more digital, and that's where we find the criminals as well, unfortunately.
Sadly, for many seeking love online, scammers have turned dating sites and social media into their own personal hunting grounds, and almost no one is safe.
To be honest, I really think everyone is vulnerable to a certain extent, and there's this perception that only elderly ladies fall for romance scams, and that's totally not true. You just have to be in some way vulnerable or open to emotional manipulation.
Scammers often craft elaborate personas, weaving tales of affection and longing, only to exploit vulnerability for financial gain. And for those sucked into romance, it's often difficult to see the red flags.
When you come across something that triggers your emotions, and obviously we are online and dating apps for a human connection, so it is emotional. But if something is too strong too soon, if somebody declares their undying love within, you know, a few days or a few weeks, that is too much, and that's a warning signal.
But not everyone can see or acknowledge those warning signs. And in some cases, the consequences have been deadly. In the case of Laura Kowal from Illinois in the United States, her online lover managed to ensnare her in a 2-year romance scam that would end in a tragedy. In October 2018, the 57-year-old met a self-described Swedish investment advisor named Frank Borg on the dating site Match.com. And following months of email exchanges and giddy phone calls, the pair fell hopelessly in love despite never meeting. By 2020 and $1.5 million in the red, Laura was dead. The victim of a romance scam that led her to commit suicide. In 2023, there were 381.48 million dating service users in the world, with the FBI estimating that in the same year, victims in the US lost over $1.3 billion to romance scams, with significant losses reported in the UK, Canada, and Australia. While scammers primarily operate on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X, and on dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, and Match.com, others have found their victims on grief forums, and not even celebrities have been immune to the clutches of scammers. In a case currently playing out in Spanish courts, Oscar winner Brad Pitt's likeness was used to con 2 unsuspecting women out of hundreds of thousands of euros. The suspects made contact with the women on an internet page for fans of Pitt and led them to believe they were in an emotional chat relationship with him, before encouraging the victims to invest in various projects that did not exist. In total, the victims were defrauded of 175,000 euros and 150,000 euros. It's something Suzanne knows all too well.
He just always knew the right things to say, and he always had the answers. If I questioned him, he always had an answer of a reason, and it was like on the spot, like really quick. Like there was no thinking about it. He had, I don't know if he had some sort of script.
And with more and more sophisticated online products emerging and the advent of AI and deepfake technologies, it's becoming easier than ever for scammers to ply their trade, often with little to no legal consequences for their actions. In the West African countries of Ghana and Nigeria, so-called hustle academies are contributing to the rise in online romance scam cases. In 2023, the US reportedly lost about $50 billion to online scams.
It is a serious crime, and unfortunately it's not taken as a serious crime. You are being manipulated. It is a form of coercive control. You're being controlled and manipulated into sending someone money.
If you've been on a dating app in the US in the past few years, swiping in an age range from men 42 and older, chances are you've come across this profile. This is Dr. Alec Kuros, but he's also known by scores of other names with addresses in different cities and countries, and on any given day, his profession ranges from pilot to doctor, and even a horse wrangler. But the Canadian professor is none of those things. Since 2007, Alec has been the unwitting face of online dating scams, with his pictures being used to catfish hundreds, if not thousands of women worldwide.
And so I think, part of this is the complicity from social media companies like Facebook in particular. If you look up my name on Facebook, you'll see a number of me. Now, I've been very successful where there used to be 50 photos of my name and my photos. Now there are maybe 10 or 5. I've got them down quite a bit.
Today, Alec estimates the number of his victims to be in the thousands, and he anticipates this number to keep growing over the next few years.
We have to be very thoughtful about what we see online. We are in a place where there's so much information that's difficult to assess in a short order that we are in a state of collapse in terms of our intellectual ability to discern truth from falsities.
While the true cost of romance scams to date is immeasurable, experts say the figure could amount to over $535 billion globally. In Europe, 1 to 3% of the general population claim to have been the victim of romance scams. In Sweden, police data revealed that around 52 million euros was lost annually in 1,300 documented romance frauds. According to Finnish police data from 2020, 210 scams with losses totaling 6.1 million euros were reported. This figure rose to 10.4 million euros in 2023. And in 2022, romance scams made up 29% of all scams carried out in the UK. And the scammers on dating sites and social media are almost always experts at this type of cybercrime, which makes it very difficult for them to catch. But hope is not lost. Romance scams come in all shapes and sizes, and falling victim to such can have serious long-term consequences. Spotting the scam or the potential of one is the first step. From the traditional catfishing scams, whereby scammers create fake profiles and personas to hook a victim with, then there's the classic tall tales associated with what's known as emergency schemes. Whether it's an urgent need for a cash injection to help release international funds, or telling a victim some fantastical story about a mystery illness, it's these well-crafted stories that usually results in a victim falling for a romance scam. Report the crime to your local law enforcement agency and your bank. Prompt reporting increases the chances of success in asset recovery linked to scams. Ceasing all communication with the scammer. This one may be easier said than done, especially if a victim has already forged an intense emotional connection with the person on the other side of the screen. Talking to a loved one or friend to get their opinion about the situation. Again, not so easy for some, given the shame, embarrassment, and anger attached to being a victim of this type of scam. But resources are available both online and in person.
given the rise in and sophistication of these scams. But with romantic deception becoming so commonplace in everyday life, it's the emotional aftermath for victims that lingers long after the scammer and the money have gone.
So I think the first thing is to remember that they've been victims of organized crime. So they really shouldn't blame themselves about it. And I know this is the natural feeling, like we always look for faults in ourselves and take responsibility, which is a healthy human way of doing things. But in this case, you've been conned by an organization, in most cases, or a syndicate that knows exactly what they're doing.
It's an awful place to be because you feel stupid, you feel ashamed, you feel worthless, like you feel all these awful emotions and you feel all these awful things about yourself that you know you don't want to tell people, because once you realise you shouldn't have done it, but you have, and you don't want to hear what people have got to say.
And while it's possible to report the crime to the platform to have a user blocked or banned, victims like Suzanne and Alec have called for the dating sites to assume more responsibility. Awareness and vigilance are crucial in navigating a treacherous online landscape, where the allure of romance can mask sinister intentions. But Suzanne has vowed not to let her ordeal make her more of a victim or deter her from finding love online.
I think I would probably say to him, thank you for making me a stronger person than what I already was. It's a pathetic excuse for a man. And he's going to die a lonely old man with no friends, no family, and no one. Because who's going to want someone like him?
It looks like an ordinary press conference. The hall is half empty. The reporters stared at their phones. A police representative in a perfect suit recites a memorized text. Doesn't look like a historical moment, does it? But that's exactly him. Yes, so boring looking. Police Commissioner Baran Chan talks about the investigation into the biggest known corporate fraud using deepfake. A clerk at a large company transferred $26 million to various local accounts after calling what he thought were more senior colleagues. But it turned out the clerk was the only real person in that video chat. Those who ordered him to transfer the money looked and sounded like the workers' colleagues, but they were in fact deepfakes created by the scammer.
以往我哋去諗一啲深偽技術嘅時候，會諗係單對單。
Police are keeping details of the case secret. At the time of the video's release, those who pulled off this scam were not detained. We studied all currently existing sources and recreated the scenario of this attack. In this video, we'll walk through the criminal steps and explore how they chose the victim, how the attack was organized, why did the victim follow the scammer's orders. We'll also talk about how to protect yourself from realistic deepfake attacks. Because the risk is not only for stars or companies, fraudsters use the identities of our loved ones. And yes, perhaps the era of being unconcerned about deepfakes is disappearing. This video was created by Sumsub, the verification platform. We make the digital world people-friendly, yet secure. In the early 2000s, Kevin Mitnick scoured trash cans for personal information. So he found logins and passwords written down on pieces of paper, important faxes, even personal phone numbers of stars, for example, Christina Aguilera. Thanks to OSINT, scammers no longer need to do such dirty work. And with the help of AI tools, scammers are basically more active now than ever. Small internet scammers prefer a mass approach and wait until someone naive enough buys it. More serious scammers are masters of OSINT. They often choose a specific direction to look for victims and study it. For example, scammers are targeting government agencies or to large commercial companies. The Hong Kong scam started with a letter. We don't know which email the first letter came to, work or personal. It doesn't matter at all. It's easy to find them if you want. Companies often leave employee emails on the website, and if not, there will always be a way.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to log into our account for users information, and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account.
A couple of minutes and this girl received another person's personal email and even persuaded the operator to reset the password. But what is important for a scammer is to think through the first letter so that the victim does not pass by. The success of the entire scam depends on the first contact. What do we know about the letter to the clerk from Hong Kong? Firstly, it came directly from the chief financial officer of the London head office, a person several levels higher. The clerk was discouraged by this. It also raised doubts. Secondly, the letter contained information about the need to conduct secret transactions. Thirdly, our attention was drawn to the mention that the first email was a phishing email. Phishing is a type of internet fraud whose goal is to gain access to confidential user data. It can be assumed that through manipulation, the victim was forced to give his personal phone number, because conversations about important secret transactions obviously cannot be conducted in the mail. As we know from police reports, the victim gave the number. The question arises, why did the clerk react to the letter even though he was initially suspicious of it? Over the last year on the channel, with the help of white hat hackers and information security experts, we have been dissecting real hardware attacks. Some of the attacks are already outdated. Some had a place in the museum before we talked about them. Technology is developing fast, you know. Vulnerabilities are eliminated, security systems are improved. But a loophole for an attacker that will help bypass any complex system will always be a human error.
Who's going to take the responsibility if anything happens to that gentleman?
I'm responsible for anything that happens here. Continue, please.
Doing it, I didn't feel any regret.
Back in 2001, Kevin Mitnick said that it is much easier to obtain a password by deception than to try to hack a security system. Remember this scene from the TV series Sherlock? The detective wants to get into the office of media tycoon and Napoleon of blackmail, Charles Magnuson. The initial data is as follows. The building has 14 security levels, 2 of which are illegal in England. There is a personal lift leading to the office. It can only be opened with a special keycard. If you use another one, the guard knocks you out, you lose. What is Sherlock doing? Contact Magnuson's office. The detective knows that now only his PA, Janine, is there. Sherlock asks to be let in. Janine refuses. She can't let anyone in, not even her boyfriend. They were dating Sherlock at that time. And then Sherlock shows her a box with an engagement ring. The girl's system is falling. Protocols go to hell. Sherlock is in. The detective acted effectively. He found the correct target, assessed its vulnerabilities, and chose the right nerve for manipulation. Everybody has a nerve. Something that prevents you from thinking critically, causes a lot of emotions, makes you act thoughtlessly, and so on. Let us remind you that the attack in Hong Kong began with a letter from the company's United Kingdom-based CFO. Did you notice that we said that the clerk suspected something was wrong, but nevertheless continued with correspondence? Based on the official statement of the Hong Kong police, one might think that the nerve of the scam is that, quote, scammers prey on company employees by pretending to be their bosses, since subordinates usually cannot distract their superiors. If we translate the police statement into scientific language, then the success of the scam is to blame for the High Power Distance Index, PDI for short. The PDI clearly shows how much a particular culture values hierarchy. Simply put, can a subordinate easily turn to his boss, take initiative, express his opinion, doubts, and so on? In Hong Kong, PDI is 68. For comparison, in England it is 35. In Denmark, it is generally 18. This characteristic was developed by the Dutch sociologist Geert Hofstede. Professor Hofstede conducted a large study among IBM employees. He visited the company's branches around the world and asked employees how they resolve conflicts, how they work together, and how they relate to their superiors. The result of Hofstede's research tour was a system for analyzing differences between cultures. PDI is one of the features in his system. Hofstede was amazed that within the same company, people think and behave completely differently.
In fact, I was able to show that it wasn't IBM, it was the country that accounted for the differences.
Yes, each of us has our own unique personality, but it is superimposed on the traditions and habits of the society in which we grew up, and these differences are sometimes visible very clearly. When talking about how the Power Distance Index affects our lives and safety, they usually give examples from aviation. In the history of aviation, a number of cases have been recorded when disasters occurred due to the fact that co-pilots, for example, did not dare to object to the commander at the moment when he made a critical mistake, or pointed out the mistake with hints, and this despite the risk to life of passengers and your own. Some researchers even applied Hofstede's measurements to aviation accident statistics and found that the percentage is higher in countries where the PDI level is higher. Let's return to the scam in Hong Kong. The first contact with the victim is established, which means the next phase begins. This phase is the most difficult for scammers because A, it is necessary to bring the victim to a certain state before the call so that the person does everything the scammers need, and B, we need to collect material to prepare deepfakes for the main part of the scam, the video call. We know that the victim communicated with the scammers for several days. Moreover, we assume that communication went on almost non-stop. This is done to put the victim into a kind of trance, so that she doesn't have time to think critically about what's going on. Let's take a closer look at deepfakes. So, we know that on the call with the clerk, there was a fake chief financial officer of the London head office and several other colleagues. How were deepfakes made? The information reported by the media varies. Version 1. Fraudsters made deepfakes from open materials on the internet, which is of course more than possible.
Yeah, actually in the past 3 months, we've seen more deepfakes than in the past couple of years. There is two types of fraudsters in regard with deepfakes. Advanced teams, they have resources, they have more money. You target just one individual and you can spend lots of resources there. And I think that specific attack in Hong Kong, I think it was more like a targeted attack. There is also a different type of fraud. And what we've seen, it's not a specifically targeting individuals. This is what I call a deepfake fraud at scale. When, like I'm as a fraudster, I'm like sitting at my home, I can create lots of deepfakes, like thousands of deepfakes. So it's not a problem, I can use just my mobile phone, my laptop, I don't need any GPUs. This is why the number of deepfakes rose. You can create them very easily. You don't need lots of images. So some people say, I do not share many photos of myself on social networks, but just one image is enough. Most people have their images in Facebook or in LinkedIn, so you can get just one image and then you can actually do a face swap from that image. Why is it possible? Right, so the thing is that usually when you do deepfake, it is a two-stage process. First you do a face swap, and then you can use enhancers, which in turn make these videos more realistic. And the problem is this is also a very hot topic in research. Lots of companies, lots of academic institutions work on image enhancement, and obviously fraudsters can also benefit from this line of research.
Version 2. Someone claims that deepfakes for a scam in Hong Kong were made from recordings of real phone calls. How could scammers get records of work calls that were not publicly available? For example, one of the letters to the victim could contain a Trojan downloader or a rat exploit, with the help of which the attackers gained access to the victim's computer and recorded his calls, etc. An experienced hacker can disguise a malicious program so that the installation is as undetectable as possible. Thus, having received a picture from real calls with colleagues, scammers could make real-time deepfakes. Bloomberg experts are almost sure that the fraud in Hong Kong was carried out using real-time deepfakes.
I want to meet with you, okay? I really do want to meet with you. This is one of the reasons why I'm coming over to Canada.
Because the clerk's colleagues nodded their heads during the call and also said some random remarks while the financial director gave out orders. We do not know what exactly was contained in the correspondence between the scammers and the clerk, and what the clerk was told on the call. But it is obvious that a presidential scam was played out for the victim. This scam scenario has caused billions of dollars in losses worldwide. But its author is Gilbert Shickley. He is a world-class liar. In the early 2000s, he was looking for ways to get rich quick and had an epiphany on July 7th, 2005, while watching a TV report of a series of bombings in London.
Liverpool Street Station.
Gilbert clearly sensed which topic would unsettle even the coolest people for a long time to come.
We are united in our resolve to confront and defeat this terrorism that is not an attack on one nation, but on all nations.
Within 2 weeks, Shickley called his first victim. French press called her Madame G. She was patient zero. We analysed the attack script on Madame G, just like program code, so that you can see the number of attacking commands. So, Madame G was 45 years old. She worked as director of the post office in Paris. France's national postal service, La Poste, also operates as a bank. On Monday afternoon, she received a call from the head of La Poste. It was a big surprise that Jean-Paul Bailly never phoned her directly. He was many layers above. Doesn't remind you of anything? He told her that the government had evidence that terrorists were using an account at her branch to finance terrorist attacks throughout Europe. So Madame G suddenly plunged into a top-secret anti-terrorist operation. An international Secret Service agent will phone you. I'm counting on you to give him all the information he needs, Bailey told her. The agent called an hour later. Paul said her mission is a closely guarded secret. Madame G herself is under surveillance. At one point, he asked if the date May the 5th, 1993 meant anything to her. This is the day her father died. Madame G's doubts disappeared. A random person could not know this. In fact, Gilbert was told this by Madame G's elderly mother, whom he called under some stupid pretext and chatted with her for more than an hour. On Paul's orders, the woman purchased a new mobile phone. The agent told her to keep it on at all times and expect to hear from him at any time. A few phone calls later, Paul asked her to list the names of the branch customers with the most money in their accounts. When she did this, he said that the list confirmed his suspicions. One of them had connections with terrorists. Paul said that we need to set a trap with her help. Several times, Madame G said that too much was asked of her. She was scared, but Paul persisted. He said he was counting on her. The French state was counting on her. Madame G gave up. On Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, she left the La Poste branch with a bag full of money. Then she got into a taxi to the first designated point, the Canon de la Nation restaurant. Paul phoned her every 2 minutes and she had to answer. Upon arrival, he ordered her to go to the restroom of the restaurant and wait in a booth. A few moments later, there was a knock on the cubicle door. The female agent, actually Gilbert's accomplice and lover, whispered the password. Reeve. Madam G handed over the bag. She waited in the toilet for a while and then headed to the next cafe on the other side of the city. Paul said that while she was driving, his colleagues would discreetly mark the money and return it to her at the second point. Madam G did everything exactly according to the instructions. She waited. 5 minutes passed, 10, 15. Paul stopped calling. Gilbert Shickley loved to give interviews and boast about his method of deception. To succeed, he needed a little information about his victim and a phone number. By 2009, French police counted 30 cases of help the government catch terrorists scams. The amount of damage is 60 million euros. But that was only among those who contacted the police. Then Gilbert put the business on stream. He rented an office, hired 50 people who phoned and introduced themselves as CEOs. Gilbert was arrested for a scenario with the French Minister of Defense. That scam was the first time a realistic mask was used. According to the scenario, the French Minister of Defense asked to borrow large sums from the most influential people in order to rescue journalists captured by terrorists. Fraudsters recreated the minister's office. You can see a flag in the background, a pile of papers on the table, and an old school phone. True, the mask left much to be desired. The head was disproportionate to the body. Instead of eyes, there were 2 black holes. However, this slightly creepy fake minister successfully convinced influential people to transfer millions of euros via Skype. The saddest part of this story is how much admiration there was for Gilbert. A movie was made about him. In documentaries about Shickley, even the police call him a genius. He puts people in a movie, his defenders said about him. Now Gilbert is in prison, but he lived beautifully and with impunity for a very long time, while his victims lost everything. For example, Madam G. After what happened, she was fired in disgrace. She lost her home. There is only one left. I couldn't get a job for a long time and was being treated for PTSD. Meanwhile, Gilbert's case lives on. Some teams copy his approach. Others choose their approach and nerve. And if Gilbert at the start had only a telephone and his dubious talent for manipulating people, victims recognized his voice at trial. Now, scammers can not only introduce themselves as someone else, like Gilbert, and hoped to simply crush the victim mentally, but also look and sound like another person, without leaving a trace. And then comes Moment X. On Sunday morning, the clerk is called to answer the bell. First, the victim sees the boss. He looks like he's a little out of his element, which confuses the clerk. The clerk's other colleagues then joined the call. He knew some of them personally. This cleared his doubts.
It's very, very easy to create a deepfake and stream it, quick demonstration. So I have a Google Meet with my friend, and I also have a streaming software that creates a virtual camera. I can actually choose the video that I have created here, so you can start virtual camera. And then if I go to a Google Meet, then here, so it's obviously me. This is my typical background with the TV tower. And then here, for instance, I go there, and here you see that I can switch from my regular MacBook camera to a virtual camera, and here you see it's pretty good deepfake. So you can, if you really look really closely, you can see this is deepfake. You can see there are certain artifacts with the eyes, but it can be convincing, especially if you're tired, if you're stressed, and then plus voice deepfakes, so etc. So you're in trouble, you will fall for that. For my meeting software, it was possible to detect that a virtual camera was used. For me as a person, or for my friend, she couldn't do it. For instance, when we do verification checks, virtual cameras checked, so probably there is a signal of fraud. But unfortunately, fraudsters know about it, and they try to hide their cameras as much as they can. So try to pretend this is a legit cameras.
Let's return to our attack. During the call, the clerk was not allowed to get a word in. The fake financial officer gave orders about where and how to make transfers and ended the meeting in a hurry. Could the clerk on the call notice that he was talking to a deepfake?
Well, I believe that the attack was targeted, so fraudsters spent lots of resources, so deepfakes were good. Yet, I think there was a possibility to look for artifacts. Yeah, you can look for especially when people rotate their heads, there will be some artifacts, but they will be gone at some point in the future. And actually, some of our customers, they ask us, so what is your plan for the game? And our answer is very simple. We call it blended approach or multi-layered approach. There is no way for us to be 100% fail-proof if we just, rely on just one stage of defense, right? So defect detection is not enough. You have to look for fraud after defect detection. This is the only way.
Look at the high-profile scandals and financial scams with deepfakes, with the help of which scammers caused enormous damage. Did they look super high quality? For example, a scam with this frankly disproportionate mask cost its influential victims 55 million euros. What if the scammer looks like this, and he sounds like this?
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real.
Does a person still have a chance? According to our internal research, the gross statistics for AI-generated fraud are very, very sad. You can see specific statistics for different countries in our fraud report using the link in the description.
In a recent research, we here at Sumsub analyzed the performance of certain deepfake detectors that are open source. In doing so, we discovered that deepfake available datasets, they are built using outdated technology. And this creates a mismatch where the deepfake generators, they tend to have better quality than deepfake detectors. The idea, our estimation, is that modern generators are at least 5 years ahead in terms of quality.
I would like to give you some clear advice, but in this topic it is difficult to do. To be honest, I don't want to tell you to train yourself to be paranoid. Remove yourself from social networks. Ask every time on a call with colleagues or loved ones that this is definitely them. Give me the code word. The less information about you on social networks and on the internet in general, the chances that your face will be used, for example, to deceive your elderly mother, are reduced. But does this eliminate the chances completely? No. We believe that only a complex path will help here. Regulation.
Deepfake regulation, it has the appeal, it has the potential. As an attempt of doing so, the EU AI Act, which is about to be published, has some provisions when it comes to deepfake detection. So when it comes to providers, for example, they must include machine-readable markings that indicate AI-generated or manipulated content. So even though labeling AI-generated content is what most regulations ask us to do, it's not reasonable to expect fraudsters to abide by it. And the costs for non-compliance are also poorly specified in the regulation. And secondly, we can also question if transparency requirements are enough. Because in many cases, if we are talking, for example, about deepfake porn, one can reasonably argue that it's not about having the content identified as being AI generated, but we could imagine that the victim of a deepfake porn actually would prefer for the content to be not circulated at all. So the Act has a clear concern over not creating any infringements to freedom of expression. However, the exemptions it lays out are very poorly defined, and we therefore should expect the courts and the interpretation from the Act to give us further guidance, but that can take a while.
In conclusion, I would like to add that it will be good for us not to forget about our human errors. This will help you notice your state when they try to manipulate you and tell you to stop. Something wrong is happening. And we believe it is important to analyze such cases in detail. This can be clearly demonstrated using the example of the swindler Victor Lustig. In 1925, Lustig managed to sell the Eiffel Tower to Parisian businessman André Poisson at a closed auction, assuring him that the tower was supposedly being sold for scrap and that he was a government agent entrusted with this operation. The deceived merchant was embarrassed to report to the police, and Lustig did the same trick again.